What's going on, everybody? It's TheNidien. As you can see, we have some Witcher 2. And we're going to make this a little bit of the Witcher Wednesdays and kind of go from there. It's going to be a long-running series. I have a feeling about that. I heard there's a lot of gameplay hours in this. Not to mention, there's going to be a lot of deaths. I had to go through a couple situations to get this optimized right, because that's one thing I found out fairly soon, that this game is pretty poorly optimized as far as PC goes. I'm sure there's going to be some people out there that don't have any problems at all, and I really didn't have too much of an issue except a little bit of a hitching issue every once in a while, and you're going to see that in the video and in the gameplay here and there. You see a little bit of a quirk right there, but for the most part, I got rid of it. There was a couple settings that after doing a ton of hunting around all over the internet, finding out what's going on, and just there's a bunch of old complaints from when this first released to a bunch of new complaints that a bunch of people that, much like myself, didn't realize maybe that this game even came out before the Xbox version came out, and we got the enhanced edition at the same time. I thought it was all launching at the same time and had no idea, but there's a lot of recent complaints on the optimization of this game. So I went around and did a bunch of hunting around, and one of the options that I ended up disabling was the SSAO, and I'm not even exactly sure what the heck that even is, but I disabled it. I disabled the VSync. I upped the texture memory a little bit. I upped the LOD as far as it would go to kind of load distance-wise, and I played around with a couple other settings. For the most part, I think we got it running as good as we're going to get it running to get rid of that hitch and all that other good stuff. So we'll see what happens from there. If it comes across and it kind of comes back on me, we'll play around with some more settings and kind of go from there. But from a quality standpoint, it was really annoying. It was playing with my eyes a little bit, playing with my brain, and I really noticed that some people, my wife didn't even know what I was talking about when I told her to come here and look at this and see if she noticed. She didn't even notice it, and I don't even know how. But it's just one of those things. So we got it, like I said, as good as I think I'm going to get it, without dropping it down too much. And my PC is overkill at the moment. I don't have an issue running any other game on Ultra and going from there and never having a hitch even while recording. And then this game just runs the way it runs, and we're just going to have to deal with it. So what I did was, after I picked it up, I played up until almost the end of Chapter 1. I didn't really do any of the side quests. I basically stuck to the main story, and I missed a lot of stuff. And when I kind of got that in the seed in my brain of I need to go back, as well as getting this optimized, I said, you know what, I'm going to wipe all out. I did the little teaser video last week showing kind of a few of the things that I've come across as far as that goes, and then kind of wiped out all my footage, got it optimized, started over. I've done this prologue probably about 4 times now, and but it's kind of a good thing, because every time I've done it, there's been things that I found that I kind of missed. Not so much in the prologue, but I may have missed one thing here and then got the second one, and then this final time I think I got it all. If you guys see me miss something, feel free to spout it out, so in the future, you know, people that may have come across this video know what to look for as far as that goes without having to go and buying the guide, because I'm not the type of guy that goes out and buys any strategy guide whatsoever. I just kind of get the game, I get into it, I go on a whim, and we go from there. And you know, I end up missing a lot of stuff here and there, but for the most part, it doesn't ruin my experience. You know, I might have missed a pair of boots or a sword or something down the line, not getting the strategy guide. So if I do miss something, you're like, you may want to go back and kind of talk to this guy, let me know, and we'll go back and talk to the guy or the gal and get the quest done and have a little bit of fun like that, get a little bit of interactivity going. So that's what I did. That's how far I played up. But I do have a lot of unknowns as far as this game goes. And one thing I'm loving about this game so far is it's very, very unforgiving as far as the combat goes. I've died more times than I probably died up to that point in, like, say, in Dark Souls. And one of those reasons is kind of getting used to, you know, the keyboard again as I'm playing on the PC and not having that controller in my hand and everything bing, 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 bing right there. You know, I got to get up to the 8 and 9 keys, which I usually don't do even in MMOs. And all this other stuff. So it's a big learning curve as far as that goes, and you're going to see me die quite a bit probably, and if I do end up dying maybe 25 times on a battle and I finally kill somebody, obviously I'm going to cut them out, because you guys don't want to see me spending an hour and 45 minutes dying on a battle 25 times. And yes, I have died on a battle so far and I am playing this on normal for you guys that are wondering. I was going to bump it up to darkness difficulty or even hard, but after the little bit that I have played, I decided my cojones maybe a little bit bigger than my brain, so we need to take a step back and we're going to play this through on normal, and once I get through it and have a little fun with it, maybe we'll bump it up to darkness difficulty and go from there. But right now we're playing on normal. We can't drop it. We're not going to bring it up that extra notch right at this minute. So, yes, that's where I'm at. Where are we at right here? Okay, so what we're watching here is basically there was like a little bit of, you seen from my teaser video, there's an assassin. He comes in, he cuts the head's king off, freezes the ship, blows it apart. Absolutely mind-boggling crazy. And I thought at first that maybe we were that guy, but obviously we were not, and he's going to be one of our nemesis coming up here later in Chapter 1. So what we're doing is, you see like a little bit of a Twilight beginning that I cut out here, where you're running through the woods, and I almost thought that maybe we were going to turn into a werewolf or some weird thing was going to happen, but it did remind me a lot of Twilight for some reason. Maybe it's because my wife watches that video 6 times a week, but you're going to do that, and you're going to see, that you're going to pass out, and there's like a couple guys that come up running behind you, and then you kind of come to, and you're in a dungeon, and you get beat up a little bit by the guards. They knock you out, then they kind of come back, and you're going to be getting interrogated by La Rocha here, and we're kind of going through the events that played out. So you see, we come up here, and we're talking to our little lady friend. Yes, I know there was some TNA up in there. Unfortunately, it's one of those things, I got to cut most of that out. I gave you a little A, but I didn't give you any T. And I'm under certain guidelines, and we don't want to get into some trouble. As you can see, a little bit of a hitchiness right there, and that I may have to re-enable VSync. A little bit of a screen tearing issue that I seen right there that I didn't even actually notice when I was playing the game at first. But that's where we're at. We're kind of going through our day, and we're going to kind of figure out why we're actually sitting in the dungeon to begin with, especially for everybody that don't know what's going on, that hasn't played the original Witcher like myself. I'm just kind of jumping in here on The Witcher 2. One thing that I missed the first time when I played through is you're going to want to come down here and talk to these guys. And basically the premise is, as this little conversation plays out here, the premise behind it all is they found a little bauble playing around in the forest on their duties. They don't really get into specifics, but you can only imagine what happened, and that's one thing. The dialogue in this game is classic. Some of this, man, made me laugh out loud a few times talking to the dwarf in Chapter 1. But either way, we'll get to that again. We're going off on tangents now, but you're going to want to talk to these guys. They found a bauble from some priestesses. I'm not exactly sure if they raped them or exactly what they did, but they made a wager due to having this bauble. And that was the new guy here over here in the shirt that's not even nearly as buff as these other two dudes here. Made a wager with a knight, saying that he was going to make it through the battle without any armor on. And they believe that this little bauble here is going to protect him. So there's a couple different consequences that you can play out here. Now, you can talk to him, and the first time I did this, I kind of let him have the bauble. I'm like, yeah, you know what, it may protect you, and they keep it, and kind of that was the end of the conversation. This time I went through, and I kind of talked to him and told him that it was probably a bad idea, and they ended up giving me the bauble. Now, from my understanding and talking to a couple kids that have played a little bit farther than I have, there's that bauble. You can lift the curse in Chapter 1 by talking to a person, and then kind of keep the medallion for yourself. So you may want to do that, you may not want to do it. I guess there's, this is one of those things. There's a lot of different situations you're going to run into with a lot of different consequences. From my understanding, there's 16 different endings in this game, which is absolutely mind-boggling that they put 16 different endings in this game. And I'm not exactly sure if that's true, but I thought, Mass Effect was, with 3 of them, was pretty damn good. But 16 is crazy. It's amazing that they can personalize these games enough nowadays compared to what it was. It used to be, you buy a game, everybody played the same game, everybody had the same outcome, and now you see a lot more of these companies getting real personal with it, and I kind of like that. So it makes everybody's little game different unless they follow somebody's playthrough to the T, exactly what they do, so we'll see how it plays out. There may be a situation where you're in Chapter 2 and you're waiting for me to get there, and all of a sudden I take a different sidetrack, and my Chapter 2 is completely different than your Chapter 2. That is all unknown. We're in a bunch of world of unknowns at this point with this game. So we're going to see where it goes from here. But definitely come down and talk to these guys, and it's not one of these conversations where you just run up and it goes into it. You actually got to go talk to them. You may, when you run past them, be like, oh, hey, it's the Witcher. I got something to talk to you about. And if you don't go talk to them, you don't go talk to them. It's just one of those things. And then later on, there was a bunch of different stuff here in the next video coming up here where we get into the day of the assault morning, where we actually get into a lot more fighting and a lot more interesting stuff that I missed the first time around completely. Like, I didn't do enough exploring and all that other good stuff. And there's a bunch of different situations and consequences that actually play out the ending of the prologue different depending on if you'll see when we get there. For those of you guys that are wondering, for you guys that have already played it, you already know what I'm talking about. But after you get done talking about these guys, you know, they say they've seen the dragon too, and no one believes them. You know, you can ask the chick in the beginning about the dragon, and she's like, there's no such thing as dragons and all this and that. Kind of nobody believes that there was a dragon around. It's kind of like it is what it is. The next thing you're going to want to come up to, you're going to come up around a little bit of a corner, and you're going to see these 5 little dummies here that you can attack. You actually have to, you know, draw your sword manually to attack these and go from there. It's not like you just walk up and click it and it starts going to town. You got to draw your sword out and attack them. But what, from talking to a couple people, this actually plays out later on in the game. These 5 dummies are 5 kills towards a certain perk that you can get later in the game. I'm not exactly sure what it is or what it does. That's all I know about it. So I decided to come down here and whack these 5 out real quick, just to have it done and say that I did it, because I was told, you know, it might be a good idea to do it.
We mount an assault today, and you'll be at my side. Follow me, gentlemen.
Then after that, what we got going on is this ballista thing here. And then one question that I had for you guys really was, when we come up here and we talk to these guys, unfortunately there's not a whole lot of battling in this other than those target dummies. This part of the prologue, there is a bunch of battling coming up here in the next part of the prologue where you got to be real careful, get your situational awareness going on. But when we come up here, you'll see that they're firing off the ballista. They go a little bit over the, you know, talking about how it doesn't hit in the same spot twice and this and that, and you're going to end up coming up here and having to aim and fire. And one question while we're working our way towards that point is, now I've had it say a couple different things from the 3 to 4 times I played through this now. I've had them say, you know, 3 degrees, 2.5 degrees, 1.5 degrees, but every single time pretty much the cutscene plays out that the guy ducks. I'm not exactly sure if you can even hit him, and I was wondering if you guys knew or happen to know somebody or have done it yourselves that have played this game, that if you guys have actually hit the guy and went from there, because it's one of those things that'd be interesting to see if you hit the guy, if you do take him out, if it kind of plays a little bit different into the next area, like if you hit something with the ballista, or if it just went over and didn't really worry about it, or possibly maybe you get an item from the king or a little bit of extra cash from this guy where you didn't, if you missed him like I have every single time. It's real interesting to kind of have a what if on all these things. And if you guys know any different, let me know if you guys can actually hit him, because I've aimed real high, I've aimed real low, off to the side, left, right, and I never hit him. I get different sayings, but again, like I said, I never hit him. And that's pretty much it for this part of the prologue. If you guys have, you know, any other, as we go up in here, you're going to see us go up into the tower, and then we're going to go back into the interrogation room and kind of play out the next part where we're in the tower, and then the next part of the battle is what we got coming up. But if you guys know any tips or tricks that may help me maybe with my key binding a little bit, getting back into this the PC combat, whereas, you know, I'm having a small issue hitting this 8 and 9 key effectively, we'll say it like that. Is there a way, if I put, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as my Witcher abilities, and maybe put, you know, 4 as, you know, you switch your inventory, I could reach up with my other hand real quick, hit 8 to switch my inventory from bombs to traps. Whatever works out for you guys, maybe with some smaller hands, if you figured out a way to keybind a little bit better than I have, because usually I just go with the default key bindings across all games that I do play on the PC, and kind of just deal with it until I can learn it. And if I can't learn it, I kind of figure out a little small way to learn it better, but it never really works out correctly. And I know a lot of guys that are big in the MMO PvP. You know, I only got like a 5-button mouse here. I don't have one of those crazy 20-button mice from Razer yet, quote unquote yet, until I let my wife lets me buy one. But so we can't go really that route. But I know a lot of these guys can hit like any key, Alt F1, like within seconds, and I didn't know if there's just an easier way for me to learn that, or if it's just one of those things, you know, trial by error. You just keep hitting it, kind of like learning guitar until you just get it one time, and then it kind of all falls into place from there. So if you guys know any situations like that, where maybe if you got, maybe there's like a little training guide out there that will teach me how to learn how to keybind better and how to hit those keybinds better and get my key presses per minute up. You know, like they got those guys that they record the key presses per minute for their StarCraft abilities, and it's absolutely mind-bogglingly stupid how fast and how many keys they can hit and actions they can do within a certain frame time. It's actually, I can't even imagine, you know. Maybe back when I was like 16, I'd like to think now that's my reflexes and stuff are still pretty on par than what they were when they're 16, but maybe not. But here we go. Here you go. You see, I'm trying to aim, and I decided I was going to aim a little bit lower. I figured, you know, we'll aim a little bit lower, throw it in the middle, and he says 3 degrees. Now, when I aimed a little bit higher, they said 2.5 degrees, but it was still the same cutscene as you see out here. Boom, the ballista flies out, and it kind of right over the top of his head as he ducks, and the king gets a little pissy. So if you guys know if you can hit that guy, throw it at me. We'll figure it out how we go there. And yeah, let me know about the key binding, and let me know if you think I missed anything other than talking to those guys about the bobble and talking and whacking off those 5. That didn't sound too good, but we'll say cutting in half those 5 target dummies made out of straw, and we'll go from there. Now, this is a point here that I forgot to mention too, that if you guys don't really want to go through the whole prologue, when you do pick it up, you're going to see that I kind of skipped out the part where I just climb a bunch of different ladders, and these guys, we talk about that and we get ready to go in that, but we're going to fade in and fade out back to where we're at in the jail cell and we're talking to this guy. So if you guys really don't want to play most of the prologue, you can skip it. It is an option to play this part, but if you do skip it, I'm not exactly sure if you get the skills that we're going to get here in the next video, or if you get the kills towards the perk or whatever it is for killing the target dummies. I'm not exactly sure if you even get the bobble. I think all that is kind of just left off to the side, and you don't get any of that if you skip it. But like we said here, you'll see the conversation coming up here where we're asked, and you can just skip right straight to the monastery. It takes you basically to the end of the prologue, where you're then you kind of have to escape the jail cell, and then so you won't have to play like a couple hours of it. You only have to play like maybe an hour of it, maybe half an hour of it, depending on how fast you go through it and figure it all out. But wow, that was a lot of talking and a lot of information to try to get out in those little bit of minutes. So that's what I got for you guys this week. Let me know what you guys think about The Witcher. Let me know what you think about key binding. Let me know what you think about the difficulty and if I missed anything. And as always, keep your heads up. Have a great day. Peace. What's going on, everybody? It's TheNidien. I just want to let you guys know you can hit up my Tales of Grace's F playthrough over on Tour de Force. And if you missed my last Witcher video, a little prequel to what's going on here, I'm going to link up there for you guys as well. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. Check me over out on Justin TV, Facebook, and Twitter.com. Go over and say hi at the VSO Gamer and VidThru pages. I hope to see you guys there soon. And as always, keep your heads up. Have a great day. Peace.